Hello everyone, hello again. I'm Sarah Shatwell. I manage the Staff Counselling and Employee Assistance programme here at the RUH. I thought today I'd do something a little bit more interactive, just to help you think about your emotional health and well-being. So I'm going to run through with you the 5 ways to well-being model. And that's linked to something called the stress container, or some of you may know it as the stress bucket. It's normally a workshop that we do in about an hour and a half, but I'm going to just try and condense it and communicate the key points to you, and hopefully you'll find some of that helpful. So the basic model is the stress bucket model or stress container. And the idea is that we all have one inside of us. Some people have a great big one and it contains lots and lots of stresses that flow in. Some people have a smaller one, and that is influenced by a number of factors. It might be our background and our upbringing. It might be previous traumas that we've experienced. It might be that we have less helpful ways of coping, which kind of reduce our stress container size. But basically, we all have one, and every day, lots of stresses and strains flow into the container. There's some very obvious ones at the moment with the corona situation, but we've got things like work pressure, life transitions, loneliness, discrimination, relationships, disability, bullying, pain, family circumstances, politics, it's maybe a big one for people at the moment. Finances, that's definitely being impacted at the moment. We might have health issues aside from thinking about coronavirus, or caring responsibilities. I'm aware that that's an issue for a lot of people here in the Trust, not just caring for patients, but maybe caring for elderly relatives or children as well. There might be abuse going on, housing problems, or bereavement. There's also a lot of that around at the moment. So as you can see, there are lots of stresses and strains that flow into the bucket. And what happens when the bucket starts to overflow? Okay, we've only got a certain capacity, and the bucket can very easily start to overflow in times like these. So those splashes just represent what we call emotional snapping. So if you're noticing that you're tearful, that you're irritable, that you're maybe struggling to sleep, that you're feeling like you just want to withdraw from the world, then it may well be that everything that is going into your stress bucket is starting to overflow, and you've reached that point. So really important to have a little pause and think about, for you personally, what's in your stress bucket, what's going in. Okay, so take a pause and think about that. The good news is the stress bucket, I don't know if you can see that, it's a picture of a tap. The idea is that although we have a stress bucket and there's lots of stuff going in, we've also got a tap which helps the stress to flow out of the bucket and calm us down and ground us and improve our emotional health and well-being. So how do we think about turning that tap on? That's really the important thing in this short presentation today. So I'm going to rip those down quickly because what I want to talk to you about next is the 5 ways to well-being. And we speak about the 5 ways to well-being as a way of framing and thinking about this, how we can turn on the tap to let the stress flow out of our stress bucket. So, what are the 5 ways to well-being? Okay, there's a nice colourful visual for you there, and you can see from this that there are 5 of them, and I'm just going to run through them briefly. So the first one is about keeping learning. It's not about learning Japanese or signing up for a master's course. It's about just stimulating your mind in different ways. It might be reading a magazine article that you're interested in, or trying out a new recipe, or learning a new fact about someone that you work with, taking an interest. Okay. The next one's about connecting, and that's something that's really tricky at the moment because of social distancing and our inability to travel, but connecting with people that we trust and that we care about and that we feel safe with, whether that's by phone or Skype or email or any of the means that we are able to use, then it's really, really important. And especially if you're feeling less inclined to do that, it's about pushing yourself to really keep in touch with people that you love and care about. Okay, the next one is about taking notice, and that's something about just taking a moment to pause, to think about what's going on internally, to connect with any thoughts and feelings that might be there, and just to notice them, not to particularly do anything with them. But also it's about connecting with the outside world and maybe taking time to notice what's going on outside, leaves on the trees, flowers coming up in your garden if you're lucky enough to have one, things that you see on your kind of journey to work if you're still coming in. Just grounding yourself in the moment by noticing what's going on inside and outside. The next one is giving, and we're all doing a lot of that at the moment, so I'm not going to say too much about that, but it's a really important thing, which is also just about connection. So it might be something as simple as taking your neighbour's bins out or something like that, or just doing a quick check on someone. So giving a bit of yourself, giving a bit of connection that builds that sense of community and connection with the wider world. And the final one is be active, and that's really about whatever that means for you. Walking the dog, doing some circuits around your house or up and down the stairs, doing a fitness video, or anything that works for you. Again, it's not about running a marathon or setting yourself huge challenges. So I just wanted to share that with you. There's a really good evidence base around the 5 ways to wellbeing, so I haven't just made it up. It's a big piece of meta-analysis that was done by the New Economics Foundation, and those are really helpful ways that you can take small steps to improve your health and wellbeing. If you'd like a wellbeing planner, we've got them within the EAP service, so you can contact us on 01225 825960 or email us on ruh.eap@nhs.net. I think I got that slightly wrong, but you get the gist of it. And finally, just wanted to remind you that we all have mental health in the same way that we all have physical health. It's not something that some people have and other people don't. We've all got it. And sometimes our mental health is good and sometimes we struggle, and that's completely normal, especially in times like this. So if you're struggling and if your stress bucket is overflowing, then get help. There's plenty of support for you, so do access it and don't leave it till your stress bucket is completely kind of flooding. Thank you for listening, and I hope you found something helpful in that.